With housing inventory piling up, home buyers are gaining negotiation leverage in many cities in the United States. In this video, I'm going over the hottest cities that are in a buyer's market right now all across the US. Now, before we dive into the details, if this is your first time here, my name is Zhang. I am a Texas realtor and a mortgage loan officer. I have a network of over 80,000 real estate agents, real estate professionals across the United States. And if you ever need a referral to a trusted real estate expert in your area or have any mortgage needs, feel free to contact me using the link in the description box down below. And please, if you enjoy a video like this video and subscribe to my channel for more real estate updates. All right, let's get right into it. So in this article, it talks about 54 of nation's top 200 largest housing market are now have inventories that are above the pre-pandemic level. And if we recall, just in 2019, 2020, during the pandemic, historical low interest rate environment with historical low housing shortage, housing inventory. That means the prices went skyrocket. A lot of markets in the United States, including my market, the Austin, Texas real estate market, it had bananas in terms of housing prices. Last year, we only have 17 markets that's above the pre-pandemic inventory level. But now this year in 2024, we have 54 of nation's top 200 housing market that's above the pre-pandemic inventory level. This means that the power has shifted away from a seller's market like it was during the pandemic into more of a buyer's market or a neutral market. And that is a good thing for the buyers out there because, last few years, housing prices skyrocketed, mortgage rate also went up, but now we're seeing that shift a little bit into more of a neutral territory. So I'm glad to see there's a lot more opportunity onto the marketplace. But we can take a deeper look at this chart right here. This shows that, in 2021, 2020, there were basically no inventory on a relative basis. But in 2022, when people started catching up in terms of seeing the home prices skyrocket and they trying to find a place to live, to upgrade, to downgrade, whatever it is, you see 14 of the largest 200 started to have more inventory pre-pandemic than pre-pandemic level. And this basically shows the trend of how the sellers, how the buyers, or the real estate market in general react to the interest rate, react to the market, react to everything that's happening. It takes about 2 years or so to really see that shift in sentiment and people start taking actions against that. And in 2023, we saw a little bit more. And in 2024, we see 54 cities, 54 housing markets that currently have housing inventories above pre-pandemic level, which is good to see because we're now shifted more towards a buyer's market. But we'll dive into detail which markets actually are the hottest or in terms of a buyer's market. So we can take a look at this chart. Ranking at number 1, it is Huntsville, Alabama. Compared to 5 years ago, we have 85% more inventory than 5 years ago. Now, Alabama is one of the areas that has saw a lot of people move to during the pandemic due to its, good affordability. Housing prices were very low and relatively good scenery and a good environment nature. Why? So that area actually saw a lot of growth. But now we can see, we see a lot more people trying to move out of the area or try to sell their homes in that area, which is not surprising. Compared to 4 years ago, 2021, which is the lowest level of housing inventory, it went above 166%. That's kind of ridiculously high. And compared to just a year ago, we increased by 46%. That's crazy. Now, second one is Keeling Temple area, which is, above north of Austin, Texas area. That area saw 310% increase from 4 years ago, 20% from a year ago. And we'll take a look at Lubbock as well. I can see Texas is going to be one of the main theme in terms of increasing housing inventory compared to the pre-pandemic level. I see Waco, Texas, and one Texas I see is, Austin, Round Rock, Georgetown area. This is where I'm based out of as a real estate agent. And here, compared to 40 years ago, compared to 5 years ago, we see 40% increase in housing inventory. But compared to 4 years ago, 2021, that's when the housing prices went bananas because the mortgage rate was sitting around 2.5%, but housing prices were skyrocketing because we just had only, I think, about 3,000 homes on the market for 2.4 million people. So that was a crazy time. And then compared to 3 years ago, 186%. You can see a lot more slowdown in terms of housing inventory increase, only 19% higher than 1 year ago, but still we're sitting at a pretty high level in terms of housing market, in terms of housing inventory. So in this case, this means that a lot more buyers have a lot more power in terms of negotiating for a better price in these marketplaces. And you can see Texas, San Antonio, New Braunfels area. You can see Dallas is also on here, Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington area. This is ranked number 4 in terms of metro size. So you can see they're 40% more, 39% more inventory than just a year ago. So if you're actually looking for a house, looking for a place in these major metropolitan area, you absolutely need to take a look right now and get started. Because what I'm expecting is that with interest rate keep on lowering, the balance will shift back and forth quite a bit. But right now, you can actually take advantage of this slowdown in the housing market and get in at a pretty good price. Okay, the next one, while we're at it, we're just going to mention quickly what is the area, where are the areas that are still in a seller's market, right? These areas are usually harder to build homes, whether because of regulations or just that people are just not moving out of those areas because of the good benefits or the environment or good school district or whatever it is. And you can see Connecticut, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, New York. These are the northeast side of the United States. And it's very obvious compared to 5 years ago, you see 74% less inventory compared to 5 years ago. That's crazy. And even though you see a little bit more of a rebound, 8% more inventory compared to a year ago, but still 5 years ago, 74%, 56%, 36% in the Connecticut area. These are the really good area of Connecticut, by the way. As you can probably imagine, these people are hedge fund folks, investment finance folks. They got a lot of money. And you can see Northeastern is basically the trend. But I do want to see if California, any cities in California remains on here. You can see, okay, this area, St. Louis and Paso Robles in California, you see still much of a seller's market. I'm curious from the buyer side, is there any California areas that have a lot more inventory that's then higher than the pre-pandemic level? I don't see any California cities in here. So you can see a lot more is in the western area where the Sun Belt is located, Florida, Texas. I'm surprised about Washington for sure. But yeah, I can see Tennessee, Louisiana, Oregon, Colorado. Those are the areas that you can see a lot more housing supplies than before during the pandemic. And the next area we're going to talk about is the states, the areas that actually have a lot more housing inventory for sale compared to before. You can see this trend right here according to Realtor.com, right? You see we had maybe like 650, 680 number of homes for sale in the United States to now we can see a gradual increase, steady increase into 900,000 homes for sale in the United States. And this trend signals, we're shifting more towards a buyer's market across the United States. In October 2017, we had 1.28 million homes for sale, but now during the pandemic low, we had October 2020, we had 734,000 homes for sale, and during the bottom of the housing inventory in 2021 October, we only have 565,000 homes for sale. It's kind of ridiculous back then. If you try to buy a home then, you're locked in a great interest rate, but you probably had to overpay by quite a bit in order to get a place. And then slowly housing inventory starting going up again. And now we see 953,000 homes for sale, listed for sale here in the United States. And this article predicts, we're predicting that we'll see a lot more inventory. If this trend continues, we might see even more, 1.38 million in 2026, October 2026. And that goes back to the 2018 level. I personally do not believe that that's going to happen, because I will see a lot more buyers coming onto the market, and try to get a secure place this year and next year. So we can see actually a lot more housing inventory going down or balance out around the 1 million level. That's what I'm expecting from my perspective. And now let's take a look at a graph showing you, compared to 2023 last year, what is the housing inventory change look like. The greatest area of increase of housing inventory is one in Washington State. Up here, another one in Florida, 45% and 43% in Washington State. And you can see a lot more inventory coming on sale in California. California right here, and Nevada, 41%. So you can see these areas that, has gone through that boom cycle. We might see the bust cycle coming in. While in Texas, we already experienced the bust cycle back in 2023. And now, even though we still have 26% increase in inventory, I expect this to slow down quite a bit, and in order for the demand to catch up. So we'll see how that goes from there. And we can see, compared to 5 years ago, how everything has shifted in terms of inventory for sale compared to pre-pandemic level. So 5 years ago, still California is still low in inventory. We have 20% less homes for sale. But in Texas, we have 13% more homes for sale. We had 10% more homes for sale in Florida. And this northeast area, this is where the housing shortage is the greatest. Because I don't know why. I personally don't know why. Just because probably they're not building a lot of homes, not really able to expand in those areas to build new construction homes, and people are just not moving out of those areas. So there's just isn't a lot of inventory for sale in the Northeast United States. But in the Sunbelt area, you can see a lot more inventory. Some of them will be from the new construction. Builders are building a lot here. Some of them will be people moving out of this area that was the pandemic darlings, the Austin, Texas, the Dallas, Texas, the Houston, Texas area. Florida just bananas in terms of the housing market, because of the home insurance prices going up. At the same time, a lot of people just moving out of there because of the weather. So this is an interesting trend that we're going to see. And I personally expect this trend will slow down quite a bit, and we might see a more balanced market in the upcoming year. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe. And if you want to know, should you buy a home in 2025 due to the Trump presidency, you should check out this next video.